Well, here we are. Another solo Rust adventure, but today it's a little different. Today we are doing something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. It's been an idea floating around for a while, but the wipes just never added up correctly. What I would like to do is live as far from civilization as possible in a heavily forested area and become Lumber Larry. Lumber Larry has two main goals: the vending machine and wood. Obviously, I need some wood teas for that to happen, but I'm going to utilize the new updates in Rust to be as rich as I possibly can in the middle of nowhere so that you can too. Today's video is not a full playthrough, it's just a summary. I'll be going through and telling you the best things I found, what was a waste of time, and what was great, and what I recommend for everyone else. I need vending machines, wood, and red and blue berries. That's my entire goal. I made my way across the map. The server had wiped just a few hours prior, and I had spent over an hour waiting in the queue. We are on an EU Monday server, which is the first time I have been in either an EU or a Monday for a while. So this would be interesting, but no matter where we are in Rust, the starting goal is almost always the same. Get my base down where I'd like to be, get my furnace from 50 low grade, devour animals or barrels, and get a metal door down. That will keep me safe from eco raids and able to plan my wipe ahead. Once I had my base down, I had to address the first problem. No matter how in the middle of nowhere you will be, there is one thing you can't avoid, and that is the need for components. The need for scrap, of course, but components. These components are used for all of the basic items in the game, for all of your starter weapons, pretty much everything. You don't need a ton of components, but what I recommend doing is building a base next to a road, somewhere that you can run in the middle of the night to take that loot to your main base. All you need to do is pick a road in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't matter if you die, you just hit cars and run to that base over and over again. If it's force wipe, something I recommend doing is building a tier 1 in both bases. Your road base can be used to safely research a tech tree tier 1 with almost no cost. You just have to build an extra tier 1 and then you don't have to worry about running it to your main base. You just research it. Even if it's rated, you still have all the blueprints. No way. It's a gun, bro. It's a water pipe, but it's a fucking gun? Oh, god damn it. Okay, so while this may seem out of order, goal number 1 is actually to start planning for your tier 2 workbench. Now, something that I've found for myself as a solo on Hypop servers that's important is to never create a tier 2 workbench for 500 scrap. You can always buy one from a vending machine. If you don't want to go the vending machine route, I completely understand. In which case, scrap is fine. But if you do, never buy a tier 2. And sometimes you can get away with buying a tier 3, although in this wipe, it definitely cost me. So as you see me doing now, I'm using the diesel method. This is actually the first time I've done it in a wipe, but it is very easy. All you need to do for your tier 2 is find something that groups will need who are easily getting to tier 3, and when they get rid of their tier 2, offer them something worthwhile. To them, their old tier 2 is pretty much trash. It costs them 500 scrap and 20 high qual. Keep that in mind, and all you have to do is offer something of equal or greater value. I usually like to overpay because that makes the trades come quicker. I ended up using 13 diesel fuel to buy my tier 2 workbench. I've done that, I've seen that trade happen with as little as 8, and I think 10 is a reasonable number, but all you have to do is live somewhere near diesel and rat it. Diesel respawns way faster than the milk crates and even the crates, I believe, inside these POIs. The new Radtown is fantastic. It's a smaller monument, so there's not usually a ton of groups around, and even on a Hypop server, like this one, all you have to do is grab it, grub, die, respawn in a bag, grab your loot again, and run it home. I would just run this to my shack nearby over and over again, and then at nighttime, take my diesel and run it home to where my vending machine was waiting. Although there are plenty of other methods, up on the screen now are trades that I have personally used in wipes to get a workbench tier 2 from a vending machine, and are ones that I would recommend. There are of course other trades like tech trash, cloth. Well, I could go on for a long time. There are other trades, but these are my favorite. They have worked for me, and I think they can work for you. What I must emphasize is the importance of doing this quickly. You want to have this down the first day of wipe. The second day of wipe it will still work, but not nearly as quickly. The clans are rushing to get things done and they want to sell those tier 2. And without any further delay, let's discuss strategy number 2. Now this is only made possible because of a recent update, which is why I feel like a lot of players are not taking advantage. Water catchers have been buffed. They are now far more consistent and provide a little bit of water all of the time. I don't know how they were before, but I'm told it was almost impossible to use them for farming. Now, with only 3 water catchers, which may even be too much, and 2 barrels, I am easily able to have enough water for my 3 planter farm. I like the 3 planter farm because it can fit above my starter 2x2, and then I just honeycomb from there. This makes a very, very small base profile and allows you to have a very strong honeycomb. For a small core and a solo, if you're a farmer, your base will easily cost way more in rockets than it contains in loot. Now, if it is force wipe, you'll have to research, but it actually only takes 60 scrap to get your water started. You need 2 high qual for the hose, you get your water catcher and your barrels, and you're done. Sometimes you might have to get the large planter boxes, but I find that more often than not, while I'm getting my components, I happen upon at least one of them, but usually 2 or 3. I end up not even having to craft one. It's kind of unfortunate because I have the frontier planters and I like them. They're very cool, but I always find the regular ones and I don't want to waste my tarp. With the water catchers, I would put them down somewhere far away outside that you think someone's not going to mess with. If you put these down somewhere that you later will have to honeycomb, you will have to destroy them and create new ones. It's actually fairly easy to destroy them with a skinning knife or something else. It's not a big deal, they don't cost that much, but just keep in mind, not only can someone easily destroy them if they would like to grief you, but you yourself have to keep them in mind for further base expansion. With that being said, no one ever really destroys mine, although it can happen. Sometimes you can put them up on your base where nobody can reach and that makes it easier, but if somebody really wants to grief you and destroy your water barrels, they can. As far as what to plant, that completely depends where you are, what you're doing, what your goals are. Obviously, I'm Lumber Larry. I want wood teas. When you're in the snow, yeah, this is going to be hemp pretty much every time. And if there's nothing else that you think it will be relevant, max health teas are always important. As a solo especially, they could save your life, and they have saved my life many times. I always recommend them going into endgame. If you've been watching the channel, you know I love farming nodes and rust. It's just so satisfying, especially before the jackhammer and chainsaw, when you actually have to hit the crit spots. It's calm and it's nice. And now to address why I haven't been here for a few weeks, I'm playing a few other games and my wipes also keep going terribly. Actually, mostly due to the terrible new wolf AI. I've had a lot of struggles as a solo, but here we are.
Let's fucking go! The diesel did it! Oh, that's fucking rad. Let's fucking go. That means I can keep my high qual too. Let's go.
For solar panel placement, use an equal amount of east and west facing solar panels. I personally like to throw one of each, east, west, and north in there, because the north one will activate first and be consistent throughout the whole day, while its east and west have peaks. It really doesn't matter. East and west are the most efficient, but I usually have way more power than I need as a solo. Alright now, welcome lumber lairs. Come by line for lumber lair. I really gotta get some lumber up, don't I? So it turns out advanced wood teas are even stronger than I thought. I always like to use advanced to the most efficient. You can use pure later, it's fine. But with just advanced teas and this chainsaw and that 30-minute buff, you can get over 100,000 wood, which is honestly more than any team will need for any wipe. Even burning through to make charcoal and not upgrading to electric furnaces, I had so much wood. You may be wondering, how does a noob in the middle of nowhere get a chainsaw? Well, do I have the best news for you. That's right. It's the metal detector. If you're familiar with newer Rust updates, you might be aware, but this thing is absolutely insane. I've used it before, and it was strong, but I didn't realize that if you're in the middle of nowhere, just how strong this thing is. We are talking hundreds of high qual per hour. We're talking hundreds of scrap per hour. We're talking revolvers, jackhammers, chainsaws, P250s, and both salvage tools can all come out of the ground, and it does not take that long. Once you get really good at cooking with this thing, oh, let me tell you, it is just amazing. You can't get everything. They're missing all comps except for metal springs, but it's still just so worth it. If you are a solo in the middle of the woods, this is the best possible thing for your wipe. Now you need to use other tricks too, but this metal detector is insane. Coffee can, full road sign armor. There are so many things you can pull out of the ground, and it's just so strong. I got my first revolver out of here, got super unlucky, didn't get a P2, but usually you can research that. It is an amazing solo's best friend. Not only that, it has infinite durability, it's only 75 scrap to research it from the normal tech tree, and it's very cheap to craft. Not only that, most people will leave it on the ground if they kill you anyway. Well, with that, we've pretty much covered the new things that I learned on this wipe. I did have a good time, but I will say that this middle of the nowhere isn't something that I could do a lot. It's not something I could do all the time at all. It's very boring. You will run into almost no players, there is almost no PvP, you will hunt more animals than players, and usually I like that kind of stuff, but it was just a bit too much. This was the culmination of all of my rat methods, except for the tunnels, pretty much put into one. I just gathered. I gathered wood, I gathered metal, I gathered sulfur, and I traded it using vending machines for everything that you could possibly want. That was my goal, that was what I set out to do, and I certainly accomplished it. This goes to show that even if you are far away from anything, any monument, even the water, you can still be successful. Thank you everyone who has tuned in so far, and expect more full-length videos in the future. My mic gave me issues this wipe, and that's why I just did a smaller and mostly voiced over one, but you can look forward to that being fixed in the future. Now keep in mind, this is a Monday server on Europe, and when I woke up American Wednesday morning, which would be 2 full 24-hour cycles, and it's prime time in Europe, I had been raided. But this is my favorite raid so far. They raided my vending machines. They used over 25,000 sulfur on my base. Even more actually, there's a couple areas that were blew up, just honeycomb that was blown up for nothing. They lost so much money. Not only that, they didn't even get my core. They got right to my furnaces. For some reason left the ore inside that and took all the stone instead. Or maybe they just didn't realize that it would keep auto-stocking from where they didn't yet grab. They destroyed not much of my base, and I could have easily regained from that. But being that it's Wednesday and tomorrow is Force Wipe, I will be restarting on Thursday on a normal proper server, and I just wanted to get the video out. I had 3 vending machines, they got 2 of them, and I still had plenty. I lost almost nothing. They lost so much sulfur, Raiden Lumber Larry, and I'm kind of glad it happened. It was a great wipe, I learned a lot of things, and I got to put out another video. Thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to do it again. I'll see you on the beach. Thanks for watching.